World War II didn't just change borders, it reinvented the sky. In 6 short years, aviation leapt from canvas and wire to sleek metal predators that defined the outcome of nations. Each country had its philosophy: precision, beauty, mass, or lightness, and a few designs stood above them all. These weren't just planes, they were turning points in history. If that sounds bold, just wait until you meet the first one. When Kurt Tank designed the FW190, he wasn't chasing elegance, he was chasing survival. He wanted a machine that could take hits, fly home, and be ready to fight again by morning. What he built was a masterpiece of logic. The FW190's BMW 801 radial engine looked bulky but was a genius move. Air-cooled, battle-tough, and simple to maintain, it gave German pilots something priceless: reliability under fire. Tank didn't stop there. The aircraft's modular structure turned it into a mechanic's dream. Wings, tails, and panels could be swapped in hours, not days. The wide landing gear meant no more praying during landings, and the commando gyrate, a mechanical computer inside the cockpit, automatically managed propeller pitch, throttle, and fuel mixture. It was 1940s automation, a time saver, a life-saver. The FW190 rolled into battle faster, stronger, and tougher than the Messerschmitt before it. It could outdive almost anything, its roll rate unmatched, and it forced the British to rush new Spitfires into the air just to catch up. Later variants became bombers, attackers, interceptors, the same airframe doing it all with grace and grit. It wasn't just effective, it was adaptable. The secret of the FW190 wasn't power, it was clarity. Every rivet, every panel had a reason. It wasn't the most beautiful fighter of the war, but it was the one that worked when others broke. And across the Channel, Britain was about to prove that beauty could be just as deadly. Subscribe for more incredible World War II aircraft stories like this one. When Britain needed a miracle, engineer Reginald Mitchell built one. The Spitfire wasn't just a fighter, it was national defiance turned into metal. Its elliptical wings weren't decoration, they were mathematics in motion, sculpted for perfect lift and control. Each rivet and curve followed aerodynamic law so closely that the Spitfire could outturn, outclimb, and outfight nearly anything sent against it. During the Battle of Britain, the Spitfire met the Luftwaffe head-on. Against Germany's precision-engineered 109s, it held its own with a grace that stunned pilots on both sides. Its handling was so fluid, so responsive, that it felt alive in the pilot's hands. But what made it immortal was its ability to adapt. From the early Merlin-powered Mk1 to the later Griffon engine models, every evolution fit the same perfect frame: stronger, faster, but never losing balance. Its elliptical wing wasn't just aerodynamic perfection, it was the symbol of Britain's resilience. Even as the war dragged on, the Spitfire kept evolving, intercepting V-1 flying bombs, escorting bombers, and dominating the skies until the first jets appeared. The FW190 was practical brilliance. The Spitfire was graceful genius. Two opposites born from the same need: control of the air. But while Europe fought over range and maneuver, America was quietly building something no one had ever seen before: a twin-boom fighter that looked like a dragonfly and hit like a hammer. When Clarence Kelly Johnson designed the P-38 Lightning, people laughed. Twin engines, twin tails, a cockpit hanging between them. It looked alien. But every strange line had a purpose. Its twin turbo-supercharged Allison engines kept full power at altitudes where other fighters gasped for air. Its guns, mounted in the nose, didn't need to converge. They hit exactly where the pilot aimed, even from hundreds of meters away. The P-38 wasn't built for style. It was built for dominance. It was fast, it was stable, and it had range the others couldn't dream of. It flew escort missions deep into enemy territory where single-engine fighters would have run out of fuel. In the Pacific, its twin engines gave pilots confidence over thousands of kilometers of open ocean, a huge advantage in survival and mission success. Every improvement was deliberate. Dive flaps to counter compressibility, redesigned intercoolers to solve overheating. The Lightning learned from its own flaws and turned them into strengths. It was the aircraft that brought down Japan's most important admiral in Operation Vengeance, proving that reach and precision could change the course of a war. Pilots loved it, mechanics respected it, and engineers studied it. The P-38 was more than an aircraft, it was a blueprint for the jet age. And if you think that was America's greatest creation, the next plane might make you reconsider. Subscribe to stay tuned for the rest of aviation's legends, including the one that changed everything. The story of the Mustang begins with a challenge and a deadline. When Britain asked North American Aviation to build P-40s under license, engineer Edgar Schmood refused. Instead, he promised to build a better fighter from scratch in just 120 days. What rolled out was sleek, efficient, and far ahead of its time. The NA-73X prototype looked ordinary, but its laminar flow wings quietly rewrote aerodynamics. Unlike earlier designs that forced air around their surfaces, the Mustang's wings sliced through it, minimizing drag and maximizing range. Every surface was flush-riveted aluminum, smooth as a bullet, yet its first version, powered by the Allison engine, lacked altitude performance. Then came the breakthrough. British engineers fitted it with the Rolls-Royce Merlin, and the Mustang was reborn. That engine gave it the lungs it needed, allowing it to soar past 700 kilometers per hour and breathe thin air like no other fighter. The secret wasn't just power, it was efficiency. Its cooling system, using the Meredith effect, turned drag into thrust, giving it more speed the faster it flew. It could travel more than 1,600 kilometers on internal fuel, double that with drop tanks. Suddenly, Allied bombers finally had an escort that could stay with them all the way to Berlin and back. Its controls were balanced, the cockpit visibility unmatched, and its reliability extraordinary. The Mustang didn't just dominate the air war, it changed it. From Europe's frozen skies to the Pacific's open seas, it became the universal answer to every mission: escort, interceptor, or ground strike. More than 15,000 Mustangs rolled off assembly lines, each a perfect mix of British power and American precision. It was the fighter that turned the tide of air superiority in 1944 and stayed relevant even into Korea. But across the Pacific, Japan was still holding on to a philosophy no one else dared attempt, one where lightness itself was a weapon. If you think mastery lies in horsepower, wait until you see how Japan proved that grace could be just as lethal. Japan's A6M Zero was built on a contradiction: to be powerful by being weightless. Jiro Horikoshi, its designer, believed strength came from removing everything unnecessary: no armor, no self-sealing fuel tanks, just pure flight. The result was an aircraft so light it could turn tighter and climb faster than almost anything in the sky. Constructed from extra super duralumin, a magnesium-aluminum alloy, both strong and featherlight, the Zero was an engineering marvel and a craftsman's masterpiece. Its low wing loading gave it near-perfect lift, allowing impossible turns at low speeds. In combat, that agility was terrifying. Early in the Pacific War, Allied pilots described it as supernatural, a fighter that could twist inside your own turning circle and vanish into the sun. It dominated the first 2 years of the war, from Pearl Harbor to the Philippines. The Zero's 1,600-kilometer range allowed Japan to strike targets far beyond the reach of any Western fighter. Every control was harmonized to the pilot's touch. Its response under 400 kilometers per hour felt almost telepathic. Yet, that grace came with a fatal trade-off: fragility. A single incendiary round could ignite it, and at high speed, its controls stiffened dangerously. When a Zero crash landed in Alaska and was tested by the Americans, the truth emerged. It wasn't magic. It was balance on a knife's edge. With experience, the Allies learned to fight it. Dive, don't turn. Strike once, then climb away. As American industry surged, the Zero's delicate design couldn't keep pace with the rugged, heavily armed Hellcats and Corsairs now flooding the Pacific. Still, its influence never vanished. The Zero wasn't just a fighter, it was a philosophy. Beauty through discipline, mastery through subtraction. Even in defeat, it remained a masterpiece of aerodynamic purity, a reminder that brilliance often carries its own limits. And when the dust finally settled, every nation's aircraft told the story of its soul. The German precisionist, the British artist, the American innovator, and the Japanese purist. But together, they wrote the book on how humans learned to rule the air. These aircraft weren't just tools of war. They were reflections of human thought, courage, and craft. Each design revealed its nation's genius, and together, they transformed the sky forever. Their wings may be silent now, but their legacy still hums in every jet that followed. Keep watching Heritage Planes for more stories that still echo through the clouds.